But before we dive into that, I want to um, kind of set some expectations and go over why I started the Roofing Success series. For those of you that know me, my name is George Roro's been advertising in the roofing space for about 6 years now. Met James early on there because I realized people need help with calling their leads. But the reason I started the Roofing Success series back in February of this year, so it's only been about 9 months now, was I continually have people reach out to me every single day in the roofing industry saying, "Hey, how can I get more leads?" And a lot of times when I spoke to these individuals, leads weren't the thing that were going to solve the problems within their business, right? There were things operationally that need to be fixed, strategy wise, having the right people in the right seats, and then making sure that a proper sales process is being run. Those kind of systems need to be in place before anybody could have success with leads, because at the end of the day, leads aren't the end all be all. You need to have a process to turn those into appointments and sales, and when you sell them, you need to make sure that you're treating those customers right and have operations in place so that you're not having to constantly put out fires. And so the Roof Success series is meant to bring on experts like James every week to kind of share their expertise with you so that you guys can have a better leg up in the roofing industry and really come into 2026 and dominate. And so, with that being said, I know we all have a lot going on in our day to day. As business owners, there's constantly fires that we have to put out. We tend to be the last line of defense, and things tend to fall on our shoulders and we get distracted. For those of you that are new today, whether you're watching from the webinar, from Facebook Live, from YouTube Live, I want to challenge you guys to do something different and actually take this hour and get some value out of it. And so, what I'm going to challenge you to do is any of those other tabs you have open with Facebook or your email or whatever it may be, close those out, take your phone, put it in a drawer. I'm going to chuck it over here on my office couch. Didn't fall on the floor today. It's a good sign. Um, and pull out a notepad. I got mine right here in iPad format. I'm just prepared to get learn something new today. So with that being said, now that we got that done, I want to introduce our speaker, James Baskin, who's been in the roofing industry probably about as long as I have, right? 5, 6 years. I know you're a mortgage a little bit before that.
Yep, about the
Um,
same time period, yep.
yeah. And so James and I initially met because I was generating leads, and some clients would have fantastic success. Others would say, "Hey, the leads never pick up the phone." And James originally ran a call center that kicked butt and was able to book. We are typically doing 40 or 50% in no appointment on the low end. So he kind of solved that problem with leads not picking up the phone because his team executed a proper call system. But I believe in a lot of what he does. He's very smart when it comes to systems operation and kind of offloading stuff from himself. And so, James, you want to take it away? Just kind of intro yourself on whatever I may have missed.
Yeah, I had a presentation that I was gonna use, and I get tired of doing presentations, so I chose the best slide that I felt could be the most helpful. If I can share my screen, George,
Yeah, you should be able
here
to.
is the best slide. I learned PowerPoint a little bit. I'm not an expert. AI didn't make this. This may or may not be from The Sopranos, but contractors suck at calling leads or answering their phones, and probably could end the presentation there. But I do that as a little bit of a joke. But I actually do have a whole presentation with that. But the biggest thing I saw with a lot of contractors with anything phone call related, anything, a lot of scale related stuff. Um, it's like any business owner, but for a contractor, their hands are busy doing the work, so they don't have time to answer the phone. They don't have time to call someone and delegate something if they're busy swinging a hammer, if they're busy on top of a roof, if they're busy installing a slider or window. George and we work with this sliding company, sliding windows and slider doors. Um, it's like 6, 7 years ago was a different time during the pandemic. We had a ton of roofers. We had to find solutions. I tell a story about a time where no one was really using iPads on the roof, and saved the client from canceling with us when the COVID times happened because no one wanted the contactless stuff, and routed into someone's Wi-Fi to show them the roof damage, and the roofer had never done that before, which I was shocked they had never thought of it, but a different time, and come up with a solution. So where does that involve outsourcing in my company, Outsource Kings? Well, there's people overseas that I manage and my team manages for me to do all that stuff for you so you can focus on your business instead of being stuck in your business. I know what it's like to be stuck in my business where it literally feels like a prison. You can't get out, you can't escape it. And I encourage any roofer to think about, what if you didn't have to answer your phone? And what if there were systems in place to schedule, route your phone in a proper channel so then you could deal with it in bite-sized chunks? Um, Maybe it's a sales appointment you have to focus on. Maybe your kids are playing soccer after school. And this is the stuff that I forget about, that, yes, it's about efficiency for the roofing company, but also there's priorities in the roofer's life. Some of them, maybe they want to do Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu, whatever they want to do. Hey, you know what? It's about buying back time and freeing you up so you can focus on other areas of your life. And that's the value add that we bring. Um, So yeah, that's kind of like my little bit of my story.
For sure. And I mean, picking up the phone 24/7 can definitely take a drain on family life and all that sort of stuff too, if you got to do that on your own. My dad ran a contracting business when we were young, and even on vacation, he'd have to be taking calls. So that can definitely suck away time from what you need to do. But if it's not done, you're also losing deals, losing your lifeline, your revenue. And there's even large organizations I've worked with where they do have call teams in place where they're not as streamlined as what you do, and the owner's still having to like step in and fix stuff. So, with that being said, I know you've also gotten a bit into like admin ops for roofers too.
Yep.
Okay,
And I know that's going to be a lot of our topic today. So yeah, definitely want to dive into that, answer any questions, or kind of explain some things as well.
for sure. Kind of diving in there, I guess I can get us started and then as people have questions. Guys, if you have questions, go ahead, just drop them in the chat on the Zoom webinar. If you're in YouTube Live or Facebook Live, that's actually not being monitored. So there should be a Zoom link attached to that if you want to join, ask questions as we go along. Feel free to go ahead and do that. I'll drop that in the chat on YouTube and Facebook Live as well, just so you guys have it. Um, but yeah, so with roofing contractors coming in, I know you originally came from the mortgage space. What is it that brought you into the contracting industry? And I know you started off just doing like kind of appointment setting. What drew you
Yeah.
to the contracting side of things?
So, I mean, really, it was a business decision. We still have a legacy client in that space. I just had a call with them not even 30 minutes before this. And the whole mortgage brokerage out of Chicago that we manage. And we had all of our clients in the mortgage space and in the real estate space. At one point, we got a couple roofers, and the rates were extremely low during the COVID time. I knew that was not sustainable. And with mortgage brokers, and this is the best way I can explain it, by first I would have to talk about mortgage, and then you'll understand why. Their sales cycle might take 3 to 6 months to close a deal. So they could never really like upfront be like, "Oh, great, you booked all these appointments. Well, I got a bunch of people in the pipeline and they're having to do credit repair. Oh, they're having to get docs. Oh, they're having to do this." A roofer, we've had solar and roofing deals. We don't do solar anymore, but we had solar and roofer deals where they would collect cash on hand after the appointment, and we're getting a text message, "Hey, dude, close that deal, 12K cash collected." And it's like, oh, so it's like it's a quick win, but it's a big win. It's an actual closed sales deal. Our mortgage people would be like, so I literally asked after I had cancellations, I was like, "What's your average sales cycle like?" And this one guy was like 60 days. And I was like, "Then why are you canceling after 30 when I gave you a bunch of deals lined up?" So I looked at it and I said, "You know what? Long term, we got to make this shift into home services. These guys, we can work an appointment, we can schedule the appointment, we can do the confirmation call for the appointment to make sure that the people are on site, and then we can do any follow-ups after there." And so that's kind of where it started. Um, and then it just became us just saying yes to things that if I felt we could do it. We had people that said, "Hey, can you do collections?" Well, I don't want to collect credit card info over the phone, but if you have a link that we can send them, let's call these people up and say, "Hey, this is what we need." And so then we started doing that. It's not ideal for us to do collections. I don't like doing it. But those were things that I just was like, let's test it out. Let's see how it goes. We've had people that wanted us to call supply houses, start learning how to bid jobs. I try to stay away from that, just to be very clear. There's certain stuff that I don't want to do. I don't want to have my team start bidding a job. If I'm already bidding a job, I might as well be the roofer at that point. I can go find subs.
Sure.
You know what I mean?
Okay. Yeah, so it was kind of just like the sales cycle in mortgages was much longer, and I just again, settled on that house. It was like 90 days between the time I applied for the mortgage and actually closed on the home because we were looking for homes the whole time.
There you go. You experienced it.
So yeah, it's unfortunately you don't just find a home overnight and then buy. That'd be
And there's
a lot better. I wish it would have saved me a lot
all
of
kinds of
time.
things, all kinds of things that can go wrong too. It's like there's
Yeah,
a million and one things that can go wrong.
somebody can have credit issues and that sort of stuff. And so you saw a shorter sales cycle in solar and roofing, and you're able to take your skill set from mortgage.
Roofing more than solar, but
And so, like, going into that, what were like kind of the biggest mistakes you saw roofers making with their leads that you were able to kind of solve for?
yeah, yeah. The early days were the Wild West, man, with contractors. There's a couple of people that you and I know that are in the roofing space, home services space, sitting in their trucks out front of a job site, not knocking on the homeowner's door, drinking Monster energy drinks and smoking cigarettes. Um, I love to give the bold example of that because anyone that's hired a contractor that probably hasn't, or a sub that wasn't great, knows what that's like. Homeowners looking out the window for an appointment. Maybe the roofer's there 10 minutes late, maybe they're 10 minutes early. They're sitting in the truck in the driveway, not going inside for a scheduled appointment. How does the owner ever find out about the information? Well, follow-up survey call after the appointment, follow up before the appointment. These are where we find these kind of things. So contractors, the big thing I saw was on the behavior side. I know what it's like to fire a contractor because we hear from a homeowner that they didn't knock and they just walked in the house. That's crazy to me. That's not okay, especially when it's a single female. And so it was like these things I would have never thought about. I thought that, hey, look, we're this outsourced Kings appointment. That's my company. We're this appointment setter team. We're gonna call your leads, and then but then it became, hey, can you call the people to do a survey? We shared a client. I think you remember this story that I'm going to say now. I always talk in stories because people love stories better, and they're all true stories. Me and George shared a client. I think they were in Miami. I forget where they were specifically. If you remember this one, the person that was supposed to be going on the appointments wasn't showing up. For some reason, the phone calls were coming to my cell phone. Still to this day, I have no good reason. My phone is nowhere near connected to George's CRM. I'm in his database. I'm not in his client's database. For whatever reason, we had inbound calls. I speak Spanish. We had inbound calls in both Spanish and English coming to my cell phone right after we did a 30 minutes or an hour after my team did a confirmation appointment. And people were saying, hey, I got a doctor's appointment that I canceled. No one showed up. Where's the roofer? I took off today. First off, I'm like, why am I getting these calls? Because there's no system that connects it. Second, my brain's like, damage control for the roofing company. That's how my brain works. It's like, okay, I don't know what's going on, but this is clearly that roofing company we're managing. Hey, I'm so sorry that what tell me more about what happened. Oh, you guys called to confirm. My team. No one showed up. No one showed up. You've been there the whole time? We waited an extra hour. No one showed up. Got it. So then what happened? Me and George, we worked this account together, obviously for we won't say the name of the company. We confronted the owner. And George does, I don't even think knows the second part of the story. This is a crazy story. So we confront the owner. I said to George either after the call or before, I don't remember. I said, we're probably going to lose this client. Like they're going to cancel your marketing services, George. They're going to cancel my follow-up services once the owner finds out that his salespeople are quote unquote sandbagging appointments, I think is what they call it, not going. Maybe he's selling another company. I don't know. People do weird things. I said, we're probably going to lose this client, but it's the right thing to do. And that's exactly what happened. We lost that client, me and George, but it was the right thing to do. Well, I tell that story because funny enough, George, that guy that was the huge siding company up in, I think it was like Connecticut area. That guy heard me on a podcast, heard this exact story on a podcast that I gave. I don't know if it was on George's or another one I've done. And he said, that's the guy I want to work with. So if you heard that story, I'm the guy you want to work with. But
Fair enough.
yeah, those are things that if we didn't do what we were supposed to do, and we just said, well, you know what? Salesperson didn't go. Who cares?
Yeah.
Well, the owner who's paying a bunch of money to, my services, any dollar spent is a bunch of money if you're hiring services for a specific need. Georgia's services with ad and lead generation, my follow-up services, and you got a salesperson that's not even going. So you're just throwing money away as a business owner. And then you're thinking, hey, this guy who happened to be the roofer's best friend, that was the craziest part, was just, in my opinion, stealing. And so it became so much more. It became not like we're just this call center. It's like, hey, I have your best interest so much that I'd rather tell you this and lose you as a client than just pat you on the back and be like, yeah, we're crushing it, man. Okay, here's the actual truth of what's going on in your business. You need to take a look at this shit.
You have it, really those accountability systems in place because otherwise you set the appointment, the sales rep can say, "Oh, the homeowner no showed me," and you have
Yep.
no way to tell otherwise. Great, it's not like a Zoom call where we're recording this. We can see, oh, okay, George didn't show up to the sales call, right in the home. Outside of there's some like tracking tools now, and I don't know if you've heard like Rilla is one I've heard of where they actually have to record the appointment. That's
Have
starting to get
not.
more advanced, but in 2020 when we started, there was none of that. It was very. I don't even think a lot of contractors I was working with had like presentations formalized on an iPad. And now a lot of them do. But no. So you're basically saying like the biggest thing they're kind of missing there is one, just presenting professionally, right? Can't really be showing up, smoking a cigarette, crushing a monster can on your head. Which as you can see, I do. I can do a lot based on the size of my forehead.
People are making a buying decision before you've even knocked on that door, in my opinion, whether it's home services or whatever. We have doctor's offices we've managed over the years. As soon as someone comes in that doctor's office, if no one's greeting them, they may have already made a decision that I'm not buying from here. Roofer pulls up, just sits in their truck, and now the homeowner's like, what are they doing in there? Like, there's just 2 of them in there. They're just not gonna I've been in the field, for years. I've been in the field, in the insurance space. So I never would pull up to a house unless I was officially ready to actually knock and run my appointment. So people are making a buying decision on the phone, in person, and they're justifying that decision, what they call it, confirmation bias, as things are going on. They might already say, "Oh, this is a sketchy roofing company," and then they come up and the guy's flicking cigarette butts in their driveway. Yeah, they're not even gonna open the door for you.
No, I think that presentation's key, right? Because people, this isn't a small ticket item. Like if you're selling door to door knife sets, okay, maybe you can get away with that. But when you're selling a $15,000 to $20,000 product to a homeowner, where a lot of Americans don't even have $1,000 in their bank account, like I think you got to show up more professionally than that for sure. Cool. Yeah. So as far as that goes, common mistake I see as well. Um, as far as like identifying, you do more than just like appointment setting now too. But if I were a contractor coming to you, right, and I was looking to start getting some of this stuff off my plate, right? Where would you recommend I first look within my business to start outsourcing? Would it be like appointment setting, kind of the admin tasks on the back end, or where do you see the most success there?
Yeah, I think inbound phone calls, some kind of tracking system for inbound phone calls to start. George, we've done that with the clients where
Sure.
that's now what I show contractors right off the bat. And I can't tell you how many of them are like, "Oh, I never thought of that." Inbound calls with some kind of call tracking number to put into some kind of system that CRM, whatever you want to call it, but somewhere where we can actually get some KPIs or metrics or numbers, whatever you want to call it, just an actual thing we can see like, hey, Monday we got 3 calls. 2 of them were new business. One of them was a homeowner that was following up on a job and to route those calls to different sectors. Maybe the one that's the homeowner is routed to you. Maybe the first 2 for new business inquiries. Maybe one source is George's lead. Maybe the other one was one of your road signs, and then it gets routed to my team. That like creating that system and then having some tracking stats by it. Oh, hey, what happens at 10 o'clock at night when someone is just calling up because they're bored and they want to talk to roofing? Well, no one's there, right?
Yeah.
Well, little do they know that we've got some kind of automation for the morning time for it to kick in that says, "Hey, saw we missed your call last night. How can I help you?" Obviously, we want to be compliant and text them back at a reasonable time. So it's like, "Hey, missed your call last night. How can we help you?" And so it's like having some kind of system there, once again, tracking, adding them to the CRM. So that's my first thing that I like to show. Some roofers that, roofers are, maybe they have their system and they don't want to change their system. And I'm not here to go against the grain. Well, then it's like, hey, what do you need us to help with? And I'll tell you if we can. And a lot of times we got leads, we need them called. Cool. That's the basic of our foundation. One of our largest contractors that we ever worked with in the commercial space, we were taking oh my gosh, I forget the name of all the websites. There were these websites where job progress, where people can submit bids for all these different projects in the home services space. You got your glass. Glass is always backed up at least a couple months to a year, depending on the glass company for whatever reason. That's what it was like. You have your obviously roofing. Roofing needs is usually just a hole that needs to be drilled, not or a patch, nothing too crazy. Obviously, with actual roofing companies, much different. But in commercial spaces for build outs, you've got millwork, you've got flooring, you've got plumbing, HVAC, electric, the big essentials there. Then you have the framers, drywall. And so what we would do is we would find all these companies in a specific major city and we would call them to bid the job. And we would call them and we have a whole workflow built inside of CRMs with this contractor that we would call to get them to bid the job. And we call all these different subs. We had so many subs. We had the email systems. The email systems could fire off, 50 to 100 emails a day. And we had tracking links for that project with the floor plan, scope, all that stuff. And then obviously the project manager's information. So where does my team come in? Well, my team would load up each project with all the subs, and then we had to manage the subs. Some subs weren't happy about projects with how they went. Okay, well, we got to push that up the chain. We had to call all the subs, and then we had to mark all the subs if they were bidding or not. And then we would have to collect, I think we had to collect at least 3 to 5 strong bids. And then we had backup bids for when the contract moved forward. And so we had to do that for I probably have done that for at least minimum 50 different commercial projects, with this one contractor that was doing a lot of building. We had stuff all the way from Nashville down to Miami with different build outs, coffee shops, pizza shops, those massage places that are like, the really I call them the gourmet massage places. They're like really fancy looking and all that stuff with nice glass window facing front places. Those are build outs also. And so what started off as roofing turned into, all right, we're doing commercial contracting that is doing commercial construction, and we're going to charge a bunch of money, and they have a bunch of employees. We need to be making at least 2 to 300 phone calls a day to hit the numbers that we need to hit to get the people to bid the projects. We need to find out if they can send us referrals. Maybe they know someone. Oh, you know someone? And then we'd be referring the link for the project to get people to bid on the job. And then it's like touch points. All of it's follow up. It's automation touch points. We got all this automated. We had like 30-day workflows of like daily reminder emails going out to everyone. Hey, you said you were interested in the project. It'd be like what they call in the construction industry ITBs, invite to bid. And so we'd send out the ITBs and then we'd have to get these bids. And some areas were extremely difficult. Some areas we had to literally have my team calling people, and this is all not me, this is my team. They would be calling people and being like, hey, you are the preferred contractor. We need you in this area. Oh, well, we don't travel to Orlando. Well, we have all these projects, and now we're like negotiating stuff. And then so the contractor can focus on what they're doing, organizing all the stuff on their front. And then we're just trying to get what they call, and I'll kind of wrap up with this pre-con. The pre-con stuff would be like the main things that we would do with the contractors.
So you were kind of getting them to like flow through the RFP system, like the request for proposal. That way, those
Yep.
contractors would have the subs on hand for those commercial
Another way to phrase
projects.
it. Yep.
It's pretty cool. All right. And then as far as hiring, you were talking about in the beginning, like inbounds too, making sure that those are handled. I see those get missed a lot because I could see in our system when people are calling and they're not picking up. So with that being said, I know you were doing a lot of kind of setting up the IVRs, that sort of stuff as well for contractors and even other clients you're working with. Are you integrating AI in any way into your workflows right now? Or are you staying mostly human? I know you're big on like human touch.
Big on human. That the IVR at this point has AI components built into it that you can ask it questions and then it escalates to the next point. I almost just say AI with that stuff. I feel like I'm like these marketing companies that just use the word AI for anything. I'm like, hey, it's an AI system that's going to route your calls to my team.
Yeah.
Because it just sounds and flows better. It is an IVR, interactive voice recognition system. Just when you say interactive voice, it sounds AI-ish already. And then, of course, some of our clients will literally have chatbots. So yeah, we do that is AI, and they'll have an AI chatbot that books the person and tells the person we need you to talk to our team, and then we're verifying the size of the job. George, we've worked with clients before where we had rigid guidelines for what we could book an appointment and what we couldn't. How many square feet is it? If it's below a certain point, we're not gonna book it. If it was a window company, AI might book that, but then we call the person up and they're like, "Oh, I got a single pane window that needs to be repaired." Well, hey, look, unfortunately, that's not a fit for what we can do. We're not gonna come out to fix a single pane window.
Drive 50 minutes for that.
Yep.
Okay. And like with outsourcing, have somebody handling those inbound calls. What are the benefits of going like outsource versus trying to hire in-house? Because that's obviously another option to replace
Yeah.
yourself there.
I think a lot of American in-house people could be better used for other areas of the business than just answering an inbound phone call. As crude as it sounds, because it is my company, we have a company that we brought on that said that half the phone calls they got daily were Google My Business profiles. They were spam calls. And
Yeah,
then you start to think to yourself, well, we don't want to miss our calls, but is it the best case scenario to have our front desk person just answering spam calls all day? Or could we have this outsourcing company answer spam calls, but also book the legit calls? And so then it becomes, hey, you know what? Circle of focus. Our front desk person can focus on greeting people when they come in the office, or maybe it's in your own house and you don't greet someone. Well, maybe they can focus on proposals and bids and following up on people that job sites, subs, that was something we got into with the commercial. We started to remind subs to show up the day of, as crazy as that sounds. Like, hey, we need you on site today. Today's the day that we have all of the drywall contractors come out to the job site to show you the project. So it's like that's something that a front desk person could do. That's something we've also done. But having someone not stuck on the phone when we can just do that for you frees up a lot of time for that person to focus on other areas of the business or to assist the owner as well.
that's fair. Instead of having them waste a few hours or even a couple minutes a day can add up because then you're having the context switch between picking up a phone call and whatever admin task you were doing. Can definitely add up. And like when people are looking to source people for outsource, like what do you recommend to look for in an outsourced employee? Because I know we both had experiences where we've had outsourced employees that maybe aren't the best doing the best. What do you recommend to look out for somebody who is looking to outsource some of these parts of their operation?
An employee or a customer, are you asking?
So as far as like let's say I'm Roofer George and then I'm looking to like bring on some outsourced talent onto my team. What are the things that I should be looking out for in those people to avoid making the wrong hire?
I think follow through, that's the big thing. When I'm interviewing someone, we literally do a test that I give specific instructions and I want to see if they can follow those specific instructions. And I want to see mainly for the purpose of how fast do they do it? Do they follow instruction? And then I'm hiring. And I cannot tell you how many times we've had people, and this goes both ways, by the way, you'll understand in a second. I've had people that I was ready to hire, and I'm like, "You're hired. You just got to send me this video, 30 seconds to a minute long selfie video of why I should hire you before midnight tonight. Sell yourself on the video. Those are the rules for it. Any questions? No questions." And I can't tell you how many times someone hasn't sent me that video, and then the next day they're like, "Yo, am I hired?" I'm like, "Dude, I gave you specific instructions. You didn't
You
follow
didn't
them."
execute, yeah.
Or the best that we had this girl, she sent us a Loom video that was generic for just anything. And we're like, dude, you sent us a Loom video. You're kidding me, right? We were ready to hire you and you sent us a copy and paste Loom video. Like, no. I share that because it's the same way that I'm interviewing contractors. I cannot tell you how often, it's not that often, but it's probably like once a year. But when I hear it, I'm like, just dodged a bullet. Where some contractors like, bro, you didn't close me. No, I gave you specific instructions to follow in order for us to help you. You didn't do them. I can't help you. And then it's like we monkey with like the tambourine or whatever it's called. They're like, "What?" And I'm like, "No, I literally cannot help you. We chose not to work with you because you couldn't follow instructions." Because think about it, if a contractor and we're going to outsource an area of their business and they can't do specific things, we can't help them. I'm sure you know what it's like, George, where you let someone pay you money. I know I'm guilty of this for years. Collected the money, closed the deal, ka-ching, uh-oh, we got this thing called fulfillment. Wait a second, they won't even onboard with us. We were just talking about this the other day, right, George? Wait, we're trying to book your onboarding. We need, oh, dude, I got so much shit. Well, we just did cash collected and we got to get you going. Oh, dude, let's push it back a month. Now we got this outstanding balance that we have with you. So like we're to the point now with the contractors where we tell them, hey, we need this stuff filled out. Then we'll collect service agreement. We're going to sign a service agreement. We're going to collect payment, but we need this stuff. If you can't provide this stuff, well, then we might not be the right fit. And that comes from painful trial and error, man. I can't tell you how many times we had different people we brought on early on. Been doing this now. It's crazy to even think about that. George, I just talked to someone else that was a client of ours from even before you and I met, and he's from 7 years ago when we didn't even have a set offer. And he's like, yo, bro, what's the offer now? I'm like, dude, how many years has it been? He's like, 7. I'm like, holy crap. But it's like we had so many painful moments of that, even in the construction space, that I was like, I used to get like these like guilty thoughts, like, shoot, what did we do wrong? And then I'd look into it and I'd be like, oh, the bold example I gave of the sales guy not showing up. It's like, oh, well, shoot, we should probably have a system to check on after the appointment. Or, oh, hey, like asking the roofing company, like, hey, like, what are your qualifications? And just kind of testing them a little bit. We've had that before where that one guy, I don't know if it was with us or you and I, or he did, this is going to sound crazy. He didn't have a big enough ladder for 2 floors. He didn't want to do anything that was 2 stories. I never heard the roofer that was afraid of going above 1 story until I got in the roofing industry.
Mm.
Cut
I've
that
gotten
clip.
on a few roofs that were 2 stories. It's freaking terrifying to me.
But if your actual job is a roofer and
Yeah.
and you tell the people that are booking appointments, I don't want anything over 1 story or 2 stories, basically. It's like, wait a second, isn't your job to go on roofs? And so it's like there's things out there that are specific stuff that it's like, hey, if we're booking appointments, now all of a sudden our booking rate has to go down because XYZ. And so those are things that I just learned from just listening to what people say. People will say stuff and they'll disqualify themselves. And I think as business owners, I know I've been guilty of being like, oh, dude, I just got to serve everyone. I got to help everyone. I've had people tell me they're like, I don't want any women over 65 booking roofing appointments. Well, if you're going to discriminate against gender and age, I'm out. See ya, dude. Not working with you. It I just don't understand, and those are things that I guess people think that they can freely talk like that until someone hears that and they're like, "Dude, that's not okay. Like, we're not gonna work with you or co-sign that behavior." That's not, just saying that's the roof, and that could be any industry, but the reason why I say all that stuff is not to get on my high horse or any of that crap. It's to say, we can't help everyone, and I think what happens is a lot of people, and whether it's outsourcing, whether it's George, they just say yes to people. I'm not saying you, George, but it's like I was that guy for years. And then all of a sudden I'm like pulling my hair out and I'm like, shit, why is this like I can't do everything right with this person? Well, I didn't qualify enough. And yeah, it cost me business, but I'll tell you what, the clients that we have, George, been with us 5 years, like the people we work with, they just don't leave. The mortgage broker I talk to, they send me a check in the mail every month, and then he follows up with me. Did you get the check yet? I don't even remember when it comes. And he's, did you get that yet? I'm checking on it. I'm like, oh shit, thank you. We let's do it again.
And as far as like looping it back to that main point of like what to look out for, it's kind of on the outsource like VA side, right? Follow through, and then also making sure, just tie it back to that point, right? As a contractor, you're prepared to give those people the resources they need to succeed, right? Because you were with me in the beginning when I tried to hire my first caller. I didn't have the right systems in place, and the booking rate just wasn't there, right? It was abysmal. You would kind of help me build that system out, and then we like
Yep.
doubled that booking rate over the course of those like 3 months. And that's something I think a lot of these guys are missing too, is like their systems as a contractor. I had it too, right? I wanted to call people because I knew they wouldn't. Alrighty. Got my handy dandy iPad notes right here. I don't know if you use Good Notes, but highly recommend it. Free shout out to Goods Notes. Not sponsored yet. That and need a Celsius sponsor. I wonder, what do you drink as far as like an energy drink goes? Completely off topic, but
Shout out to First Form, Andy Frisella. I was buying their dollar energy drinks when they released them. Uh, I've drank probably every energy
shout out.
drink there is known to man, and I've gone back to my coffee. I always go
Okay.
back to coffee. I'm like, dude, I got a case of C4. I have all these different ones, and
I'll lose you.
now I'm here right now. Can you hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you. But so as far as that goes, I want to wrap it up, open up for Q&A here. Um,
Sure.
as far as before we wrap up, I do have one more question, which is I like to ask, and I've been forgetting to ask lately. But if you could recommend one book to somebody to go read today that had the most impact on your life, what would it be?
It's a good one. It's been a while since someone asked me about. I read a ton. A lot of stuff by Napoleon Hill is really good. Dale Carnegie is still one of my all-time favorites. How to Win Friends and Influence People by Dale Carnegie, but an unknown book by Napoleon Hill, Outwitting the Devil, is really good as well. I would probably say those two.
Interesting. I'll have to check that one out. I've never heard of the Outwitting the Devil
Yeah, there's a
one.
whole story behind it. They found it in the archives or something. I forget the whole story. Maybe it's just some marketing magic, but that's a great book that everyone knows Think and Grow Rich. It's like everyone talks about Think and Grow Rich, but not many people know about Napoleon Hill's book called Outwitting the Devil.
It's pretty cool. I'll have to check that out. Ready? Well, as we're coming up to the end here, I want to open up the floor for Q&A. So if anybody has, I'm going to pull up to YouTube Live as well. But if anybody has any questions, feel free to drop it in the chat. We'll answer those, and then we'll just do some kind of final thoughts here and wrap it up. I'll also YouTube Live. There it is.
Does it show you like any metrics while you're live and stuff like that?
It probably does. I'm newer to using YouTube Live and Facebook Live, so I'm not quite sure. But now I'm a streamer. I make all my income from Twitch subs.
I don't even think I can even go YouTube Live anymore. I was able to do it at one point, but now I think they have like a subscriber count you need in order to do it.
Oh, really?
Maybe not. It could have changed. I think they went back on it. If you're able to do it, then I think we can, because I think I saw that I could now. It was like you had to have a certain amount, but now they pulled back on that, which I always thought that was kind of weird. Maybe it's like a bandwidth thing.
Oh yeah, that's true too. Yeah, I don't see any queues coming in right now, so that's completely fine. What we'll do is we'll call it a day here. I just got one more question for you, and then I'll do the final kind of thoughts.
Let's do it.
Um, which is, as always, if people want to learn more about what you do, how they can potentially work with you, what would be the best way to get in contact?
We got a question in the chat, I see.
Oh, do we?
I'm
Not
gonna
too
answer
quick
that
with it.
question.
Can you see it on your end?
Yeah, I can see it from Monica. Hey, Monica, great to hear from you, by the way. Um, which are the main SOPs we should have ready before trying to outsource? Great question. I think that's a really, really, really good question. The one thing I would do, and this is going to save you a ton of time, Monica, whether you hire me or you do it yourself or hire another company, is throughout your day, when you're doing things that you're like, oh, I should outsource that, either write out the process of what it takes and put this in a Google Sheet, or if you're familiar with like Loom, if you don't even have Loom, use Zoom or your phone. Somehow record the process, because maybe it's not in front of a computer. Record the process of whatever that looks like, and then start to organize that stuff. And so then you could start to have a Google Doc with organized Loom videos of what you want done. Oh, hey, I want my emails responded to, and here's how I respond to these type of emails. Here's how I respond to these emails, and these type of stuff I want you to forward. And so say someone's hand on your email. So it's like, oh, well, this stuff, if it's related to claims, forward to claims department. This stuff that's related to new business, you should be calling that lead back. And so then you can start to map out the process for each SOP. So each SOP, by the way, might become its own Google Doc. So like maybe there's something related to the CRM. And so the CRM might have its own Google Doc with its own all Loom videos, but then there's a main sector. I really wish I had this file that we just did recently. My team has it. I don't have it in front of me. Um, but you have like your main SOPs, and then they've got sub files with Loom videos that are all part of the main SOPs, if that makes sense. Is this kind of making sense, Monica, a little bit?
We're gonna start pulling people into the actual webinar. Yeah. Okay.
Awesome. Yeah, and Monica, feel free to, either connect with me on my Facebook profile or ask me any questions. I'm more than happy to help. I probably could put something together, George, that she's on point with this. This is really good. I'm liking this, Monica. Thank you for that last statement. She said mine changed the whole time. This is something that, oh my God. We have all these video files that we had a girl that managed my whole team. and she was with us for like 2 to 3 years, and she managed all my project management stuff, bilingual, and she decided to start her own business. She lived in Colombia. George remembers her, Elizabeth. Elizabeth went to start her own business, help the elderly in the mountains. Great deed, but she had to leave our company. She gave us a 4 months or 6 months heads up notice. She was just a great rock star person. And we discovered this is kind of funny, George, and it's right on top with Monica. We discovered this SOP grail that she created inside of Go High Level. And I know I probably had asked her for it and I just forgot about it. And I'm like, dude, why does my team not have this? Well, it goes right into what Monica's saying, with things that change. We found this 2 years later, a year later, I shouldn't say 2 years. A year later, we found this grail of SOPs that had every single thing we've ever possibly done. And I have a girl going through it, and as she's updating stuff, she's been doing this now since last week. And updating stuff is both retitling the stuff, updating documents, updating Loom videos or whatever the video training is on it. As she's literally updating it, there's other updates that are happening. So I'm like, that makes total sense. So what we did is we have uh, Microsoft Teams and we have Slack channels where anything that gets updated in real time, we put the new update. So then everyone that is supposed to have access to certain files or certain things on my computer or my company, we update the stuff in a channel. So it's like, hey, here's all the SOP, and then here's the update. And then what I think we're gonna do, Monica, this is literally, you're hearing what I'm doing right now. What we're gonna do is at the end of either the week or midway point through the week, if it becomes a lot of updates, we're gonna then update all the videos. So the videos on file are gonna be constantly made sure that it's brand new based on the Slack or Teams or whatever software management tool you use for your staff to keep everything updated. And that's something that can be outsourced. That's something that I'm not going to do. I'm not going to be the person to go through. My team, they will update each other so much that they have removed me from groups because they know that I don't want to get a bunch of notifications on stuff, that they remove me from stuff. They're like, well, we didn't want you getting the updates. And I'm like, oh, well, cool. Glad I didn't have that happen. But now that we found this grail of like videos and we're updating all of them and more updates are happening, now we have this process where that video sector is always going to be updated. And then we can assign those videos as certain sections to new hires. Hey, new hire, you only get this part when you first start for your first 30 days. After 30 days, we're going to give you logins to this other stuff because we trust you more. And then you're going to get this stuff. Let me know if that helped a little bit, Monica, but I'd rather go like super in depth and give some vague answer. That's just how I am. Awesome. Rooting for you, Monica. Like I said, feel free to reach out. George, I know you were asking me about how people can get in contact with me.
Yeah.
Facebook, I always tell people, everyone loves Facebook. It's my Facebook name. And
I could
then
drop your link in there too in the chat.
I'll do that.
I'll pull it up for you.
Yeah, I appreciate it. And yeah, great questions by Monica. That's awesome. I love follow-up questions because it's so easy just to answer a question and someone gives an answer, but then it's like, well, what about this? And it's like, well, let's go deep. I'm gonna put my website too.
Cool. I just dropped your Facebook profile in the chat.
Love it.
Yes, sir.
My favorite type of inbound calls that come in that my team has dialed in, and I know you've experienced this, George, with your people, is the fake appointments, the Angie list people want to do. They're like, well, I've got a job. And then like it's like some like murder mystery, like some weird story. They're like, I've got a job I want to tell you about. And my team's like, all right, tell us about the project and where you located. Oh, I'll get to that. Like, okay, well, we need to know where you're located in order to help you. Well, I got a big project and I want to see if you can handle this. And it's just like some like, but when I review these calls and my clients are like, dude, this is Angie's bullcrap. I'm like, yeah. And they're like, well, I need to know if you can handle this job. And it's like, what is this like Mission Impossible? But these calls that these Angie's people do always crack me up when I listen to my team. They're like, yeah, we'd love to help you. We need to know, where are you located at? What's your address? And that's like our BS filter to see if this is like a legit person. Well, I'll tell you about that later, but I want to tell you about this project. It's a roofing project, and I need to know if you can handle 3 to 5 in your area. Oh,
You just
got
know
it.
it's a lead broker at that point, trying to sell
Got
you
it.
leads. Yeah.
Okay. But they're always so vague and they just waste time. And we've got people that are like, "Yeah, can you handle this for us?" They're like, "Yep, we'll handle that." So
Yeah.
thank you again, George. This has been awesome.
Sure, dude. Thanks for popping on. I know it's been what, since like March last time you were on?
Dude, I love what you built up, man. I think it's awesome. Is your software tool live? I don't want to talk about things that you haven't fully launched yet.
Yeah, we're rocking and rolling. We're seeing some solid results with it too. Testing it on a few websites, doing some direct mail with it as well, but I haven't really leaked it yet. So maybe I'll do that on a webinar here soon.
That should be a surprise webinar now that James blew the cat out of the bag, so
Yeah,
to speak.
that's okay. It's ready to rock and roll. I've just been holding it back for no reason.
I'm surprised you don't, and I'm glad Monica's here with us also. I can see and some other people. George used to work for NASA. He never tells that. You should put that in your bio. It'd be like former NASA programmer,
You
and
got
you
it,
are
yeah.
a programmer, you know what I'm talking about. And we do some software development stuff now, but it's like former NASA programmer turned roofing marketer. And then people would be like, "Whoa, what did he do to NASA to have to become a roofing marketer?" It's like,
Terrible stuff, just too many
yeah,
space lasers. But
he invented the space shuttle, and he now donates his time in the roofing industry.
yeah, yeah, that's what it is. You got it. Legal disclaimer, just kidding. But no, yeah, I definitely should because I did my first post about that today, ever in like
I
six
feel,
years.
I feel
So
like I posted more about you being a NASA. I don't know if you're a data science or a
engineer,
program or a
yeah,
developer, or if you were getting coffee for Elon. I'm just
that's what
kidding.
it was. Yeah, that's that Doge. But
You should post about it, dude, man. Like that, it's you got some cool stuff, man. I know it's just us talking about it. I know this is podcast hour, but like I've seen some of the cool stuff that you've developed. I know you spent a lot of time coding and developing some stuff. You're one of the more authentic people out there in the roofing industry. You should post about that stuff, man, because people should see that stuff before some grifter posts about it. You know what I mean? And it's not even their product, probably an affiliate that they're just white labeling. So definitely want to see more of your stuff, but up to you. Just saying that as a friend and colleague.
I'm gonna have to start posting that more. Everybody has to force me to like talk about what I do because I don't like coming off cocky. But I'll do some posts on that over the week because I've been working on it, perfecting it for like 2 years now. And it's fucking solid. Pardon my French because we're on YouTube Live. Not gonna get banned. But anyway, no, I will, dude. As far as everybody on here on the call today, again, links are dropped in the chat. They'll also be in the YouTube video once it's posted live and in the Facebook group where this recording will go live first. If you guys aren't a part of the Facebook group and you want to be, I'm going to drop that link down here below so y'all can have it. And then any final comments on your end, James?
Oh, I want to thank everyone for being here. I want to thank Monica for the thoughtful questions. Glad I was able to assist. And of course, George, I want to thank you for having me on here. Any chance I get an opportunity to just talk about what we've built, and I say we, being my team and myself, it's an honor and a privilege. So thank you again.
Sure, brother. Thanks for coming on board.